Hey team, welcome. We've got Dallas, Houston, Pune, New York. Okay, awesome. I think we are starting to get people to trickle in here. We are expecting a few more folks to join in, but in the interest of time, guys, I think we can get started here. Hopefully we'll get everyone caught up. Obviously, the webinar is recorded, so we'll make it available for everyone. So, team, welcome everyone. No matter where you're joining from today, one thing is clear. AI is no longer a future concept. It's here, and we all can see that it presents a significant opportunity to strengthen an organization's moat. But while AI's potential is global, we all know it's not a one-size-fits-all. Its adoption varies by region, shaped by different priorities, challenges, and market dynamics. In the US, enterprises are leveraging AI to drive innovation through personalized experiences, as well as drive efficiency at scale. Meanwhile, in the emerging high-growth markets like the Middle East, AI is a key growth pillar and an economic transformation pillar, where national strategies are fueling investments in smart cities, digital services, and AI-driven sustainability. Irrespective of the regional differences, one universal challenge remains, which is how do organizations successfully deploy AI at scale? To explore this, we have an incredible panel with us today. First up, Amit Sani, Vice President at Dell Technology Services, who brings firsthand experience in deploying AI at scale. Steve Simpson, our Chief Revenue Officer, who drives AI-led business growth. Homer Batina, our Head of AI and Data Science, who helps organizations accelerate AI adoption. And myself, Karthik Ranganathan, VP of Sales Engineering at Aligned Automation. Welcome, panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time, guys, to share your insights today. I'm really excited to dive into today's discussion. But before we get started, I would love to warm things up a bit with a quick few icebreaker questions here for our panelists. It's always great to start with a little fun and know the personalities behind the expertise here. So Amit, first up for you, if you had a personal AI assistant to take over one annoying part of your daily life, what would that be?
Personal life, professional life?
Personal life.
Personal life. It's not annoying. It's good, actually. On the weekends, we play cricket, and then we talk about, like, I'm sure like the audience can resonate with the sport here mostly. We want to talk about like the strategy, and instead of typing like long paragraphs, you can now leverage AI based on the prior stats, even for picking of the team. And as we do the auction, you can put it in one of the LLMs, and you can give the prompts, and it will tell you this is what you have to pick for your playing 11. And so from that standpoint, it's been a fun change. So it's not annoying. It's very much an awesome thing, because it helps us, or helps me definitely personally, in putting the right strategy on the field. So
excellent. Steve, if I may, if AI
Sure.
could run one meeting for you, which meeting would you gladly hand off to AI?
That's a great question. So, leading sales and marketing at Aligned Automation, I'm all about content and collateral that can be packaged properly and put in front of our clients, potential and existing, about the things that we do and the experiences that we can bring to them. So it's about content creation. We spend an hour about every other week, 5 of us on a call, carving up and going through content as to how should we show this, should we show it this way, where should it be on the sheet. I would love to just hand that off to an AI agent to just create the content for me, and then I and a few others can come in and just tune it up and be done with it. I think that would save an enormous amount of time.
Yeah, it's undoubtedly an area of help needed for sure.
Yeah.
Homer, I know we've all been using ChatGPT, but the early days, I hear, were a lot of fun for you. What's one worst response you've gotten in your early days with ChatGPT?
Thanks, Karthik. Yeah, one of the early days testing, those who started playing with ChatGPT early, I once asked ChatGPT for a nice program to write something in Python. What it gave me was a romantic love story. I don't know the relationship, but that's what it thought. It was related, and it did tell me that.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for sharing these insights. It's always fun to hear a bit of fun stuff on what drives you beyond your day job. So that's good. Now let's bring our audience into the conversation here. To kick things off, we want to start with a very quick poll. This will really help us shape our conversation today. And we want to really understand where your organizations are in your AI journey today. So if you could just go ahead and take a moment to answer that question, that would be great. We'll go ahead and share the results shortly and hopefully use that to shape today's discussion. Awesome, 33% participation. I think we could get more. I think we've got 72%, 76. Thank you guys for taking a moment. All right, so we're sharing the results. No surprises there, guys. As we can see, it's clear that organizations are at different stages in their journey, from just getting started to experimenting and obviously scaling AI solutions. So no surprises, I would say. Amit, let's start with you first. Let's take maybe the poll results in front of us and say, as you've looked at your background, you've obviously navigated the AI adoption at scale. Can you maybe walk us through your key phases of your AI journey, and what were some of the key major turning points that shaped your approach?
I think, first of all, it is not I, it's we. We have been collaborating on this journey for quite some time, us and Aligned Automation. So it's been a great partnership and a great collaboration of sorts that has helped us continue to scale our AI strategy across the globe. So for us, our journey started about 7-8 years back when we were going through the merger, and when we had the merger of Dell and EMC. We talked about we have to bring the process and technology together because obviously it's people, process, technology, and great people all sides, process and technologies, where we can either get the scale or we might lose some synergies. So that's how the journey started with us, with the merger being the forcing potential, kind of sort of a forcing function. And when we started looking at a process layer, and we said, okay, we got to go digitize and digitalize this process layer. And that's when we started looking at how do we look at some industry leading capabilities, which had early onset of AI ML back then to help us understand the deviation from the happy path, which allowed us to put the right process in place. Because if you do not have standardization and simplification and automation of process, fundamentally, we believe you will not be able to achieve the full potential of any AI or automation. So that's a base layer. So that's how we started attacking that base layer. Even before we started talking AI, we went into the foundation mode to get the process layer established across our organization of services. So we digitalize about thousands of processes, and upon on those processes, we then layered in our industry-leading capabilities from a technology standpoint, whether it is our CRM for our support services organization, or is it for a deployment tool for our professional services organization, to make sure that the potential of those technologies were gained to the maximum advantage because of the strong process layer. And then kind of, like a better word, the magic started happening, because you had strong process layer, you had strong technology layer, you were getting the data, and AI follows data. So then the conversation started about how do we get into the data standardization, the extraction, and the transaction, and the load creation of the data, the pipelines that we had to create, so that we can start building the AI ML models. And that's how the journey started, and we've been on that journey. Obviously, 7-8 years back, at least I did not know there would be something called generative AI, or there would be something called agentic AI, as we are about to talk about the world is talking now. But we were going slowly but surely on a methodical path a process first, technology on top of process, and then AI leveraging the process and the data layer. And since we had strong foundation when generative AI really started becoming something real, we experimented very quickly with that. And our foundation of years allowed us to scale that across the entire globe, where we do the support services business in about a year or so. Now, are we there 100%? Obviously not. Do we have 100% coverage? Yes. We continue to improve our accuracy, and every day we are improving. But the fact that we even have 100% coverage of a AI, generative AI model, and I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are using in hundreds of countries, that is massive scale for us to kind of go attack. So that's kind of how the strong foundation of process, technology, and data allowed us to maximize the full potential of AI, which is now also putting us in a good position to go experiment, and which we are rapidly experimenting in the agentic space and learning from there.
That's a fascinating journey, Amit, and really highlights how AI adoption is more than just technology. It's about strategy, talent, and execution. Well said. Given your experience, I'm sure there are some valuable lessons that others can learn from. If you could maybe break down your AI journey into a playbook, what would your top 3 chapters be?
It's a very good question. For us, everything, and we talk to our customers as well about it. It starts with the prioritization of everyone has multiple use cases, and everyone thinks about we can use AI here, AI there. Some of them are fancy automation and the guise of AI. Some of them are RPA capable. All great, all great work. So, but you cannot obviously do thousands and hundreds of things. So first of all, the organization needs to prioritize where you think you can get the most return on the investment. And that could be for internal operations, or that could be for external customer-facing needs, whatever they might be. Could be both, could be either or. So the organization, first of all, needs to define what are the areas that they feel are their IP, that they genuinely can create a differentiating experience vis-a-vis competition for their customers. For example, we are not looking at HR and finance, because they have the third-party tools that we are using, and it's their responsibility to keep AI updated through Workdays of the world and other financial tools. But for some of the other things, whatever your IP is, we should prioritize that. So first thing is prioritization. Second thing is like I said earlier, is about the process, standardization, simplification, and automation. AI follows data. AI is leveraged a lot more and maximized from a potential perspective. If it is working off of a standard, simplified, and automated set of processes. So prioritization, process standardization, simplification, data management. Those would be the 3 chapters I would write. And then if you do the prioritization right, you know how you have to get your process right, you know how to get your data right, then you can get the AI full potential. And enterprises are working through that. And then we expect the enterprise adoption of AI to continue increasing, because they continue to mature their playbook across these 3 chapters.
Great insight.
Yeah. It's Steve. If I could, let me just add to that. I see that across the sectors that we look at as well. It sounds easy to have a playbook and have the right priorities, particularly within a function. It becomes exponentially more challenging, not impossible, but it's more challenging when you start looking cross-functional or across the enterprise, because the priorities will be variable. And so that mandate that builds that playbook should come from very high in the company. There needs to be a reason for everyone to pay attention to. We're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to collectively gather what's important to the company and what's important to our customers that our company exists for. And that's going to formulate and be the foundation of that playbook. And from that, then this workflow and process all begins to synthetically come together, and the data then to support that can get drug along with that. And I see that as one of the key criteria for scale.
That's a great perspective, Steve. It's clear that while AI presents such an immense opportunity, there is still a balance that organizations are striving for that does not disrupt their core operations.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the key question. How do organizations strike a balance, right? Because at one end, you're trying to run the business, but on the other stream, you want to kind of transform the business in this ever-changing landscape. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, and I think Amit did as well. Priority, what's core? What are your customers investing in you for? What are you trying to deliver to your customers? What's important to them? That has to drive your priority. That has to drive your, biggest bang for your investment dollar that you're going to be putting into this kind of an effort. And those decisions aren't static. Those perspectives aren't static. What you delivered last year to your clients may be less important than something new to them. I'll give you an example. The auto industry built cars and delivered cars because customers needed transportation. But then technology came in to allow you to press a button and get emergency help. So then it became about experience, not just driving the vehicle, but having an experience of driving a vehicle and having a degree of confidence, degree of safety. So you need to constantly think about what your customers are investing in you for and stay on the forefront of that. And I think that can fuel that prioritization, that playbook.
Thoughts from your side?
One of the things that we have definitely seen that customers are interested in is using AI either for business growth or for giving a competitive advantage, right? A simple, like what Steve said, it's just the experience. Maybe the core function remains the same, but giving that competitive advantage, which improves efficiency, gives a better experience, is something that customers are looking for, which they are heavily trying to influence and heavily trying to invest in. And AI is going to give that added advantage to them.
Excellent. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
What we have seen also is they don't want to try with something very big. Neither do they want to do something too small. Something which gives them the right advantage, something which can be measured and iteratively built over time to deliver higher value and higher efficiency to their teams.
Excellent. Excellent. It's a balance, right? It's a balance that you need to constantly be striving at all times.
That's correct.
Let's maybe shift gears a little bit and talk about some real world AI in action in terms of how organizations can turn strategies into tangible results. Before we dive in, I want to maybe just run a quick poll again. Let's hear from our audience today. What is your biggest challenge in implementing AI today, wherever you are in your journey? We've got about 80% participation. Let's maybe share the results there. Awesome, guys. I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's clear that there's a mix of challenges that organizations face when it comes to implementing AI, from data readiness to scaling to measuring impact. To bring this to life, Amit, your thoughts. I mean, you've deployed some real world strategies that have helped you overcome some of these challenges. Thoughts on that?
I think it goes again back to like having clear set of metrics established when you are doing the prioritization. As you look at the poll results, like measuring ROI and measuring impact, and which is why again a lot of organizations are thinking through, and Steve can allude to it a little bit more as he's talking to clients, potential or existing of your company. They struggle with this notion of like it keeps like requires a lot of investment, and what do I get out of it and things like that. Not necessarily. It doesn't require a whole lot of investment. Also, if you do the upfront work right, and if you know what exactly it is that you are going after, now there is a degree of experimentation, but at least 70-80% you're clear on what your use case is, what are the associated success measures of that use case, how are you going to deploy it, what will be your rollout strategy, how will you be thinking about the change management associated with it. That kind of a thinking has to go up front and from a planning perspective. And then it is not like, yes, I'm not minimizing the investment, but the investment could be many-fold if you have not planned. It's like no different than any project we do at our home. If you do plan right, then you call a contractor, you have a scope, you have a boundary, and then you can get a project done within the budget that you have. So scope, quality, and budget, right? Triangle. So if you focus on your scope, you focus on your quality parameters, and you start within your budget, you'll be fine. So that's how you have to start with prioritization and success measures. And then it's kind of the fail fast or fail forward, as we call it, in terms of like, rapid experimentation, checking the egos out of the door, and looking at what the technology is teaching us, and having that level of adaptability is super important in terms of how you approach a business problem. So it's not coming with a sense of pride, it's coming from a sense of humility. It's like, I don't know what I don't know. I would be okay to be proven wrong. I have an answer first. I have a hypothesis, but obviously, as I run the models, as I run the technology, as I run the process, I could be wrong, and I reserve the right to change my thinking and then learn from that. So having that adaptability is key when you assemble the team. So prioritization and success measure 1, understanding your scope clearly 2, getting the right team in place with that level of adaptability mindset, fail fast mindset, intensity mindset. I think if you have those 3 chapters, like your earlier question, if you write the 3 chapters on this one, I think you'll be surprised what you get out of it.
Excellent. I think it's clear. Putting AI into action requires a thoughtful approach to tackle these challenges, but go through it in a methodical, rapid experimentation way. That way, you're always looking to improve and accelerate upon. Steve, would you want to elaborate on that?
I just want to
Yeah.
compliment you, Karthik, with the way you articulate it as a true consultant. So appreciate it. Taking the rudimentary operator language and articulating it in a very consultative view is very good.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't know that I could say it much better than how Amit put it. That concept of fail forward and fail fast. It's an iterative. It's almost this agile methodology applied to this, right? Where you won't know everything, and you have to approach it with humility, exploration. Starting small is a logical way to start, right? Everything, you got to start somewhere, applies here. But learn as you go. I think, Amit, you've mentioned before, I've heard you say this, that being 60% ready and going forward is much better than waiting to be 90% ready.
That's right. We believe in that. Is we have worked with your team, with yourself, Karthik, Omiyar now, over time, over a lot of years. We've been together practicing that philosophy. And the other point I should have mentioned is, like, not everything should be or could be done by the organization themselves. They should be willing to understand where they can also find the right partner to accelerate them in their journey, like we did with you all, and then that kind of helped us scale. So there is always that element of, again, back to adaptability, is like knowing what you know and learning, but also acknowledging that where partners can help you accelerate in certain areas, and then we should be willing to explore that route as well.
Omiyar?
Definitely, Amit, one of the biggest challenges that we try to help our customers with is provide resources who are learning quickly, who are ready for the role. Traditional data science is no longer just simple data science. Now you have ML ops, DevOps. You need all these skills to build an AI application. Even the challenges of integrating it into the legacy systems, integrating it in different ways. How can we scale it at an enterprise level? And also, all AI systems are not going to be performant day one, right? They're not going to be perfect as soon as you switch them on. So there has to be some amount of guardrails, some amount of checks in terms of ethics and outcomes, and potential ways to bring human in the loop and take action if AI is not performant in some cases. So all of these things are valid, and that's where we provide a significant value to our customers to help them accelerate their AI journey.
Well said, Omiyar, and then that's why the partnership's been great, and then we look forward to driving more and better things together.
Excellent, guys. Great perspectives all around, right from having strategic prioritization to accelerating time to value, And along with that, having a technical readiness that really helps bring it all together in an ongoing machine, right? It truly then becomes a machinery. As we dive deeper into our conversation, I think it'll be good to kind of also hear, again, bring our audience here to kind of say, where could they benefit the most as they look at their journey? So let's maybe pull in our third poll here. So based on some of the discussion, some of what you've heard so far, where do you think your organizations could benefit the most out of? A good blend between a well-defined playbook and finding the right ecosystem, or creating the right ecosystem, I would say. Stop the poll. Again, I think thank you guys for sharing the results. It's clearly, I think having a well-defined playbook leads at the very top. And it's great. I think everybody's realizing that you need to kind of have an ecosystem, whether it's the right partners, whether it's the right talent to really kind of help build your strategy. And then eventually it's all about accelerated time to value. So Steve, I want to kind of start with you maybe first, in terms of where do you see the need for organizations when it comes to engaging the partner or engaging a ecosystem as this ecosystem continues to evolve? How do you see organizations should shape their strategies?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy, but having a mandate from the tops of the company is really important. Otherwise, it becomes sort of a experimentation at mid and lower levels of organizations, and those can be useful as point solutions, but they're then not integrated. They're difficult to connect from a workflow standpoint, and therefore you're struggling to deliver the ultimate values that you sell to your clients and your customers. So I think it needs to start from the top. I think that forms that framework for that playbook. You set the priorities, as we mentioned before. I think the acceleration and the scale potential increases exponentially if you have that sort of foundation in front of you. Then you're making business decisions as to what has the best return, what's going to drive the most value for our company, what's going to drive the most value for the customers of our company. I also think it's important to mention that artificial intelligence and all the things that are now available to us is not something that can be or even should be applied to every use case. There are use cases that seem obvious, and looking for cost reductions and driving for efficiencies is clearly one that everyone thinks about, but can also be a business development tool or capability as well. It can help you grow your business. It can help you grow your revenue, grow your reach into areas that you might not have expected to. So I think there's a hybrid approach that should fall out of that strategy and that playbook, which is we're going to use capabilities like this where it makes sense. We're going to deploy it and tune it and learn from it. And then there's other areas where it should just be used as a force multiplier. In other words, it shouldn't replace resource. It shouldn't replace talent. It can enhance and be a force multiplier to that capability inside your operation. So it runs a spectrum, and I think that all of that can be part of that cascading feature of a strategy, starting with a mandate, a strategy, and then a deployment strategy, a roadmap. And you don't have to do all this yourself either. There isn't a particular driving force to say we need to hire a bunch of data scientists and a bunch of data engineers and a bunch of AI experts into your operation. You can, but I would challenge you should ask whether you should. What's core to your business? What do you want to get out of this? And that's where partnerships come into play, because you can look at a hybrid model or a leverage model in that way.
Yeah, I like that last point. I recently came across an interview with Arvind Srinivas, the CEO of Perplexity, and he made a very interesting comment that I wanted to share here. Paraphrase him, he said the true value of AI isn't just in the models, but in how you shape and apply them to build your differentiated business.
Right.
To your point, if you had $1 to spend, where would you want to invest in? I think that's really what all companies are grappling with. And Steve, I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on that, on how you see that or how you're seeing that as a pattern emerge across the clients that
Yeah, I think companies are this is an opportunity for companies to really take a series of introspective views of themselves. What are we here for? What are we trying to drive? What do our customers expect from us now versus what do they expect from us last year or 5 years ago? It's a really good exercise for enterprises to go through. I think this is just a forcing function for that, because then from that you can decide, well, then this is how we should adjust our operation. This is how we should adjust our workflows. This is how we should take care of our customers in different ways or expand our business in certain ways. And even that kind of a process isn't a static one. You should probably ask that question 6 months from now as well, and ask it 18 months from now as well. It ought to become and needs to become part of the recurring business operation. Who are we? What are we doing? What capabilities do we need that we don't have? How do we get them? How do we deploy them? How do we scale them?
Absolutely. Use AI as an accelerator of your organization's moat, as they say it. Amit, ever-evolving landscape, obviously. What do you see as the next big breakthrough coming up in AI? And as Steve was alluding to, how do you kind of stay ahead? How do you kind of keep up with the pace? Your thoughts on that?
I think the word of the word that world is using right now in AI space at least is agentic. So we hear that word a lot. We've actually been looking at kind of just this understanding of it for last few months. We are rapidly experimenting now on that front. There's a lot to learn. I think we have our thesis that we are maturing. The tech is the at scale tech is few quarters out, but it will be here before we know. Just the way this world is moving so fast, what we could have imagined 2 years back is now here a reality. But you mentioned Perplexity and few other companies. So I think it will be here before we know. So agentic is where we are thinking about in terms of leveraging some capabilities with product and services together. So more to come on that.
Yeah, excellent. And Amit, I like the last part that you mentioned, right? It's really thinking about products and services together in a ecosystem best of breed view. And I think Dell in particular has really taken this open ecosystem kind of an approach. Can you maybe elaborate on those thoughts, like the strategies behind that?
Yeah, I mean, we look at it from a customer experience, and if you look at the experience continuum, the customer, is not looking at the organizational structure. The customer is looking at the experience. To Steve and Omir's earlier point, it's about the experience. So when you want to focus your strategy around driving the best experience that you possibly can drive, the technology is just an enabler to get there. So to us, it's like that experience that we are very, absolutely focused on. We're very anal about it. We are very focused on that particular aspect. Customer first. We're obsessed by that, as you know. So to us, everything starts and ends with the customer experience. So when we look at that and we drive the customer journey through that, with that one focal point, everything starts slowly but surely falls in place. And then we don't look at, I sit in this org, you sit in that org, and you have your case and I have my case, and no, we look at it from a customer perspective, and Dell Technologies absolutely win for our customers, and our customers are love what we bring to bear for them when we drive it from that mindset.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, truly looking at the end-to-end workflow and then tailoring your solutions to create that differentiated business model.
Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Homir, we touched upon the ever-changing landscape. Amit touched upon agentic AI, touched upon the ecosystem view and the importance of it. how can teams stay ahead of the learning curve when it comes to AI? What we learned yesterday is no longer the only thing that's available today, and it's accessible to everyone. So your thoughts on that front?
Absolutely true, Karthik. The AI world is evolving every day. We have new technologies, new tools coming out every week. I mean, I remember as soon as we heard of DeepSeek, we installed it. We built a few apps within a week, and then suddenly DeepSeek went viral all over the world. We are trying out new technologies. We are trying out newer tools that we can leverage for our customers, and to build that edge, to build that competitive edge that can help our customers evolve fast and build fast and deliver goods and apps in the AI world. Similarly, we are always on the lookout for hiring talented folks from the market. We are hiring good students and intelligent people from universities where we can leverage their expertise, we can leverage their knowledge, and whatever they have tried in our projects for our customers and deliver things at a scale.
Excellent. So really kind of helping build lessons learned playbooks that allows organizations to not always start from scratch.
That's correct.
Excellent, guys. Listen, I know we've got about 15 odd minutes left. I want to maybe just take one last moment here. Any last pieces of advice for the team here in terms of how should they think about this journey? For a lot of people, it may seem daunting at first, but it's those who take risks, move fast, adapt, and transform stand to benefit from this rapidly evolving landscape. So Ahmed, what would your one piece of advice be, or based on your lessons learned, a recommendation be for the audience here?
To me, it would be like, again, you lead with curiosity, humility, and adaptability. That's it. You should always be curious, ask questions. What's going on? Why can we not do this? Don't take the status quo as the answer. Challenge yourself, challenge the team, challenge the organization by asking the whys, and be curious about things. And then understanding with the point made earlier around with humility, understanding and acknowledging that not everything you would know is right. You'll be shown different learnings, and then you should be adapting to those learnings very quickly.
Amazing. Curiosity, adaptability, and humility. Love that. Steve, one last piece of advice from you?
Yeah, well, I'm going back to one of the responses to the poll question, which was, we're just getting started, or we're just, experimenting. And then it was, the other poll question was, we need a playbook, or we'd like to have a playbook. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I see that all over the place right now. Experimentation, but we're not sure how all this fits together. So I would encourage, those individuals and the clients to ask the question, why are we where we are? Why aren't we formulating a strategy? Where is the strategy? Challenge your leadership. What is our strategy? This is an important thing for us to move beyond experimentation, because there are values, ROIs, benefits, both internally to the company as well as to the customers that they serve. So don't feel like you're far behind. You can catch up, but it will require some steps. It will require asking some tough questions. Why are we where we are? Why do we feel uncomfortable? Why do we feel like we're behind? Typically, the answers to that is because there isn't a strategy behind it. People are curious as to, well, how do you develop a strategy? You've got to ask management that question.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much, Steve. I think with that, maybe we open up for some audience Q&A here, and use that as a way to kind of drive questions here. So let's maybe get some audience questions on the chat here, guys.
All right. So first question for the team is, one of the key challenges is staying up to date with new trends. Given the current macroeconomic conditions, how are you evaluating investment opportunities?
Ahmed, do you want to take that one?
mean, the way to stay ahead and is just kind of keep learning. Again, be curious. I mean, so personally, I read up as much as I can, whatever the time I can get, and watch some videos. I mean, Satya Nadella just released a new YouTube video around Microsoft Sales Agent, around agentic capabilities of that. So it's just like the nature of the environment should always be encouraging you to be curious and learning. So that's the only way, and because uh, things are moving so fast that I don't know what's going to happen in a year. I absolutely have no idea. So for the record, it's like, well, we'll have this and we'll have that. We can all speculate, but it will be surprised. So, but read as much as you can, watch the videos as much as you can, make this a topic of conversation with your friends and families and different colleagues from different sectors. That's also great learning. Just tech is one sector. There are multiple sectors, and the application of this technology is widespread. So I personally enjoy having those conversations with some of my friends outside of the sector, in medical sector, healthcare, etc. So that is also very encouraging in terms of what the future looks like for us. It's very exciting.
Right. The next question is, how do we even start? I think org is stumped on where even to start or how we could use AI in our business.
Steve, do you want to take that one?
Where to start? I'll say it again. I mean, you need to think about what outcomes do you want? Where do you feel like you've got inefficiencies or unrealized gains for your business in terms of reach or revenue growth? You have to ask those fundamental questions. What are we trying to accomplish? And then, as we've said before, understand the workflows, the processes. There is work involved in that. You have to, put teams around this to understand the current state. You identify through strategy and playbooking what the future state is, and then you build your roadmap to get you there. It does seem overwhelming. Many of the customers and clients that we encounter start small. They start with a single use case and they start with a single function because there's got a burning platform or something around it. That's okay. I wouldn't recommend starting even a single use case without having that groundwork laid, though, for, okay, so if you do this in this single instance, the single use case, ask the so what question, get an answer to it. Okay, so then we'll get this kind of an outcome. Then what? How do you take it to adjacencies? When do you bring in the stakeholders that sit in those adjacencies so that they too can be a part of that strategy? It just takes a level of introspection to understand what you're trying to accomplish, what the priorities are, understanding the process and the workflows.
Omiyar, do you want to add to that?
I do believe that there is a playbook, but the playbook is ever changing. And learning, trying new things is going to help you stay ahead of the game. Find the few things that matter, that make a difference, that give you a competitive advantage, and rest of the things will follow. Right? Nobody has a perfect playbook for AI. Everybody is figuring out as we move along.
All right, next question. I think you guys touched on this, so I think maybe just to elaborate, in general, everyone's focus is to automate business operations for enterprises. Some focus on adding AI to their core business to take it to the next level. If you had a crystal ball, how do you see organizations evolve in the next 2 years?
Wow.
Let's again go with you first, or maybe Steve.
Well, it's difficult to predict. This crystal ball, wouldn't we all like to have that, right? I think at large, enterprises are going to figure this out. I think because they're going to be forced to figure it out. The laggards in adoption are going to find themselves affected in their marketplace because the adopters, those that have adopted the strategies and approaches that we've talked about on this fireside chat, are going to take a lead position. They're already taking lead positions in that. So I think it's going to be there'll be a forcing function around that, and I think there'll be a sort of a dragging force here to bring those along that are, still in the experimentation stage. They're going to be forced to broaden their perspective and adopt more broadly at scale, or they're going to lose market share.
I think Steve's spot on. We completely, align to that philosophy as well. And then history has shown us, right? I mean, if you look at Uber came and took the taxi company, pretty much out of the business.
Yeah.
In New York and other cities, we saw that firsthand in about 10 years back, same time around, right? That's was the advent of Uber gaining scale. You look at the Airbnb, again, around 10, 12 years back or maybe 8, 10 years back, gaining prominence like Uber. And you have the hotel chain, pretty much, suffering huge losses. So that is just the adaptability comment that we were making earlier. Is like there will be someone will win, and it just is how the world works. There's no secret about it. It's like we have to be the one who want to win, and then we have to deploy these cutting edge technologies and process intelligence and data intelligence with full potential, or someone else will, and they'll figure it out. It's the best, at least in last we're decades of us all working. It's been one of the exciting times where we are seeing how the world's changing right around us.
Absolutely. I mean, unlike any other technology, AI is so accessible to everyone. The
Yeah.
between the incumbents and the disruptors is only narrowed. So to your point, if either you disrupt your own business or you get disrupted.
That's right. Well said. Yeah.
All right. We've got another question, I think one or two more, and this ties into one of our call to action. So this is a good segue. Could you suggest a framework or some resources which an org can leverage into building data standardization with an intent to leverage AI, which have been the most beneficial?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, Sheena. Dave, what we'll do is, at the end of this fireside chat, expect us to send you an ebook covering some of our frameworks, strategies that we discussed today. We'll go at depth, so you get more of the real examples, see it live, and hopefully that can answer some of your questions. And again, at any time, if you have questions, feel free to always reach out to us. We'll be happy to kind of set up those sessions, walk you through those playbooks at depth, because again, there's different nuances to it, right? It's not a one data management framework. It's again tied to the business problem that you're at, but we'll take that as a call to action.
All right. One final question. I think you guys touched on it earlier. It's a good one to wrap up on. Question is, should I bring talent in-house or should I be selective of where to outsource, and how do I decide?
I think it is to what I said earlier is like the organization should think about the control points. They should think about the IP that they want to center their strategy around, which is purely differentiating them from the competition, allowing for the business models to evolve and drive more growth or efficiency in the company. And in order for you to achieve that, you should be very open about where you want things to be done in-house and where you think there can be an opportunity to leverage a great partner. And the partner selection is also not easy in terms of because pretty much everyone on paper has similar capabilities. So how do you think about? So I like what Homiar said earlier is you're bringing that mindset of adaptability. It's the people that make the difference, and because tech is common to everyone, it's nothing unique that X is using or Y is using, but how X or Y is using makes a difference. So to me, I really like Homir's point around adaptability of the support that Aligned provides to the clients. I think is the way to think about.
Excellent. Steve, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would add that if you are looking at a hybrid model, some of your in-house expertise and then leveraged tech resources, look for those who understand your business, those who know your sector, those who have domain expertise in what you do in your operation. That knowledge is hard to find, but when you find it, it's invaluable because they can talk like you, they understand your business like you do. So look for, if you want to leverage resource, look for partners who understand what it is you do and have experience in your sector or your domain.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. I think we'll call it a wrap at this point. Thank you, everyone, for joining this Fireside Chat. As I mentioned, I think we'll be circulating some of the discussion topics from today in a framework so you guys can access it. If you have any follow-up questions, please send them to contact@alignedautomation.com. Lastly, I think there will be a recording of this Fireside Chat. So for your team members who are not able to join these sessions, please feel free to circulate them. And again, thank you all for joining and have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.